going to jail. Thank you to our $5 patrons, Redwolf 4765, Midnight Gem Lord, and Sean. And a very big thank you to our $25 patron, Alex Ice Rose. Now, we have this breakdown / discussion and review of Chapter 98 of Four Knights of the Please remember to leave your own thoughts on the chapter in the comment section down below. Leave a like and subscribe if you haven't already. Also, hit that little notification to miss out on any videos that come to the channel. Also, I do have a Patreon down below. Each one as low as $1 down with exclusive videos, early content, and more. You also now become a member of the channel for as low as $3 a month to get the same perks and more. Some of those perks include the live reaction to this very chapter. Now, let's hop into Chapter 98. I lied. We're hopping into 97's poll. So, last week I ended up asking y'all, Four Knights of the Apocalypse fans, I gotta know, with Io the Demon revealing her sorry situation set up by the King of Chaos himself, and her controlled friends running up to Walnut to burn the city to the ground, who do you think will win in the upcoming battle between the 5 Dark Chaos Demonic Warriors and 2 of the 4 Knights? Pick a choice and let me know why down below. So obviously your 2 options were Darkness and or Apocalypse, there's going to be the 5 Demons, and or Lance and Gawain, and unsurprisingly, overwhelmingly, it seems like 73% of y'all did have some good common sense, because y'all went with Apocalypse. And yeah, obviously, like, I don't necessarily disrespect the 27% of y'all. These demons could be cracked, they could be crazy, they could be dumb, but they are not stronger than Lance. It is simply like a biological narrative, like entire impossibility that they would be anywhere near stronger than Lance. They could give Gawain a good fight, because, you know, it's nighttime. Gawain doesn't have sun on her activated right now, so she's just going to rely on her spells. But, like, with Lance there, there's no way that the Apocalypse was not going to overtake the Darkness. Like, it's just a kind of a definitive thing, at least in my mind. Like, Lance is just a little bit too powerful right now, and I don't think these 5 demons are going to come in and really prove him wrong or prove him any sort of trouble or anything like that. Gawain, yeah, I can see it happening, but not Lance. And if the 27% of you thought that Lance would fold, I mean, I respect your opinion, but it's okay to be wrong. However, thank you so much for participating in that poll. Make sure you get your input in on tomorrow's poll dropping at 12 p.m. to make sure your input is included for next week's review. Now, let's hop into Chapter 98. What's up, guys? All Hunter, and here we are to review Chapter 98 of Four Knights of the Apocalypse, which is known as Impending Ceasing of Life, because I'm afraid to say the D. But regardless, this chapter is short but sweet, I will admit. The chapter has not a single spread to its name, and it's only a solid, hold on, let me whip out my counting skills. Elmo taught me well. Shouts to my boy Elmo. We rep Elmo in these streets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. 13 pages. This is one of the shortest chapters of Seven Deadly Sins that, or not Seven Deadly Sins, of Four Knights that we've gotten in a while. But I will admit, Nakaba already admitted in one of the previous Q&As that he's not feeling well. So if Nakaba needs to put out some shorter chapters, he can put out some shorter chapters. Honestly, I wouldn't even mind if bro went on break. Like legitimately, if you need to recover. Do not, and I repeat, do not mangaka of Hunter x Hunter yourself. Do not do yourself dirty like that, Nakaba. Take your time. We can wait. However, since he decided not to wait, let's hop right into the chapter itself. So we open up. We do get to see that the gang now has Anteniac all wrapped up and GG. Like, that's just it. We don't get any necessary follow-up on the last chapter's very ominous ending of the mini Percy speaking to her. She is sort of just done in, laid all on the ground. A lot of the insects ended up retreating, and they should admit the enemy's captured. That's it. GG. And we see that while Chion's just focused on the fact that the enemy's captured, Donny points out that, yeah, sure, we got this one, but we know for a fact there's another one. The old guy with the beard and black glasses is he's about that. Like, legitimately, he's a bit different. He literally sold all of us and took out our white mage. We're lucky our white mage can revive. And honestly, if we're being real, he's a tougher opponent than this lady ever was. We gotta let the others know and let them know right away. And I don't blame Donny for that, because obviously, like, McDuff for some reason was being kind to them. Like, he just straight took the white mage out and got thrown away. He did not, like, absolutely one-shot and execute all of them like he easily could have. So I don't blame Donny for being so worried for the others, because, yeah, seemingly enough, unless you're like Lance, or maybe even like Gawain, who could teleport away, or maybe Tristan, who has a different regen, McDuff is like the worst matchup for all our human casts because he can just execute them. Especially with taking away the sound, he could catch him off guard, sneak up on him, snap him, and then leave. Just like he did with Percy. And unlike Percy, not everyone else can self-res. So I can definitely understand why Donnie's so worried about the rest of them. And we do get to see that Chion immediately disagrees. He's like, forget that. We got to report our capture of the enemy to Sir Tristan. I don't, like, even from a professional level, I don't get where Chion's coming from here. Because one, you don't know where Sir Tristan is, so you can't even report it to him. Two, I would say Lance is the more unofficial leader of this group rather than Tristan, so you probably want to report to him. And three, why would you want to report the capture of one enemy when you could just drag them along anyway to go help the others? Like, you could just put them on one of Percy's gigantic mini-hymns, let it floater along, and then bada bing, bada boom, you're good. Chion, I don't really get the play here, especially considering these are your childhood friends that are at risk. Like, I get it. If he was just like worried about, or if we were just worried about like Lance and Gawain, Chion couldn't care less. He probably wants McDuff to GG them. But Chion, Isolde and Jade, like the two people that have been your friends forever, like you really just don't care about them getting harmed. You want to hop on Tristan's beat so darn badly that you're just willing to absolutely let them go completely unaware about the fact that there's a massive buff dude that's like 6'7", 345 pounds of pure raw muscle with the ability to take away sound just roaming around. You just don't want to help him with that. Come on now, bro. However, we do get to see that Nasien's like, listen here, both of you are idiots. You listen to me, the GOAT. I'm not Sylvan, but I am Nasien, so I'm still goated. Our perception magic is still being obstructed. Yeah, that's right. If we try to find Tristan and the rest, we'll just wind up lost. But admittedly, like, y'all were gonna wind up lost anyway. Like it's not like y'all have a direct plan or direct stat line where y'all can go down. So you might as well search for him. Just drag Anteniac along. Or, this may sound dark, and I know Percy's here, but Chion, considering you were down to do friendly fire and team slay yourself, you might as well just execute Anteniac. There's no reason to keep her alive. Like, I mean, actually, no, there is. Because they need a Camelot Knight. Ironically enough, now that I think about it, if they could find Tristan and call Lance, they could just go back to Leonis right now. I didn't even think about it that way, but they literally won. Like, especially if they get McDuff. But now that they have Anteniac, a Knight of Camelot, captured and admittedly not restrained. Like, I can't even see what is on her face. I don't even see anything on her. I think she's just like knocked out face down from Henbane and Bell. Yeah, they literally have a perfectly captured prisoner. Nasiens could just keep dosing her to make sure she stays out. And that's a GG. They don't need to do this entire journey anymore. Something's gonna have to happen to her body. She's gonna probably get like executed by the demons or something like that. Like, there's no way, because this is just a GG, right? Because the whole point of this journey is that they need to go hunt down a Camelot Knight, but the Camelot Knight came to them. The only issue I could hypothetically see is if Anteniac doesn't have the tattoo that'll send her back. That's the only issue I could see, but right now, there's no point in progressing further on from this point, as long as they can find the others, get rid of McDuff, or even capture McDuff 2, so you have a 2-for-1 combo, and then you just leave. Because they don't know about the demons. No one knows about the demons. But that's the thing, like, legitimately, no one knows about the demons that are running around. So, legitimately, they kind of just won. Side quest over. We don't need the journey anymore. But obviously, I believe something's going to happen. It's going to cause it so that they can't use Anteniac. And still, I wonder what they're going to do now with the idea that they said the perception magic's still blocked. We won't be able to do anything. Okay, so y'all just going to stand around? Not doing anything? I don't know. But still, I love the interactions between Donny and Chion. And Donny, in his characterization especially, he literally puffs out his cheeks in disappointment, and Chion looks away annoyed. Love these two. I think Chion's a little bit stupid and a little bit idiotic sometimes, but I still love him. However, we do cut away pretty quickly, and we cut back to the man of the hour, Tristan. And we see Tristan's like, hey, Eo, if you could do me a favor, could you please lift your magic power so my friends can actually find me and we aren't just sitting around here like sitting ducks, unable to identify each other? And we see that Eo's like, not yet. I fear that Arthur will hear us. What? How does that even make, like, hear from you stopping using your magic? Does your magic make a sound? I don't get this line. Like, what would Arthur hearing us, like, what would that do? Like, what? I don't know, because presumably you've already committed treason. Like legitimately, the moment Arthur realized you stopped fighting Tristan, which who knows, maybe he can't figure that out. He does still rely on like Orlandi and stuff like that to report stuff back to him. But like, dog, I fear that Arthur will hear us because you deactivate your magic. How, like, I don't, maybe Eo's like lying and trying to manipulate Tristan here or something because she knows she can't beat him in a fight, but I don't get this line at all. You would want to deactivate your magic so they can find your friends and help beat them. Like, if your friends just show up, friends who you have hyped up as like actual decent combatants, were to just randomly spawn in on people because, you know, they can't sense anybody right now and people don't have eyes in the back of their heads and there's a man running around that can silence things too, wouldn't you want to shut down your magic? Like, I think the whole line would change if she just said, or like the whole context would change if she said, I fear Arthur will notice. Like, if she stopped activating her magic, Arthur has enough people within that could like report back to him being like, hey, that demon you conscripted, yeah, their magic's not on anymore. We don't know what happened. Maybe she got beaten. Can you tell if she's alive? And presumably he would be able to. I still don't know why Eo wasn't taken over. Like, if her friends are being mind controlled, why isn't she being mind controlled? Is Arthur patrolling you or not? Is he watching or not? Were you not there? Once again, did you just go out for milk one day and come back and then all your homies were gone from the spot? And then bada bing, bada boom, you found out it was Arthur? Like, I still don't entirely get Eo, her motivation, her background, or any of that. And I don't know, this line just makes it even weirder. Maybe this is just like a twist. Maybe this is just breaking my ankles again. Like, she's not meaning to be an idiot or say weird stuff, and it's just a weird mistranslation or something like that. And there are parts of the story we just haven't heard yet. All that is probably very, very likely, but for some reason, this line just caught me entirely off guard. Like, I don't get it. And we do get to see that Eo decides to complicate the story even more, because she's like, hey, you don't know, do you, why my allies who should be living in the demon realm were captured by Arthur of Camelot? No, we don't know that, Eo. Why don't you just tell us that instead of bringing up the fact that you did not tell us that? Huh? You sneaky? Are you trying to be a bamboozler, Eo? Are you trying to be a bamboozler? Because it's working. Because I'm a little bit bamboozled. I don't lie. So I don't know. Very, very weird stuff from Eo this chapter. She's been generally weird ever since she was introduced, but still very, very weird stuff. And presumably, what I can assume is that Arthur may have encountered them because they try. But then again, how'd they get to Camelot? I have no idea. The only thing is, like, they shouldn't be able to get into Camelot because they're all demons, so they can't be there. Arthur, because we don't know how long they've been taken over. I don't think we know that. Maybe this is the same group of demons that ended up attacking. Brain is blanking. They ended up attacking Ardbeg's village, and that Arthur showed up to immediately. Maybe he was mind controlling them. Because notably, if you go way back in time, back to reality, to the Ardbeg chapter, where we saw Arthur pull up on Ardbeg after his family was, how do I put it? Toasty crispy. Like, after that happened, I thought it was way too convenient. You can even go back to that chapter way back when, that chapter review. I say it's way too convenient that Arthur showed up at the perfect time. So it's entirely possible that Arthur just invaded the demon world, got some demons, and set them on a rampage throughout Britannia so he could get more knights. Wouldn't shock me at all. Arthur seems to be a very malicious individual who's not afraid to use the other races to his benefit. So wouldn't be shocked at that. Or these are just demons that were lingering around and still attacking human villages. Because, once again, it's not like everyone exactly disagreed with the Demon King, that the Demon Clan was the pinnacle and that they should stand atop all the other races and that the humans shouldn't have taken over Britannia. It's not like all the demons were against that ideology. Some demons were just zealots, and they really agreed with the Demon King's ideology. Just because Meliodas and Zeldos became king and they're two nice guys does not mean that every single demon is going to magically become a nice guy, because demons have their own individual personalities. Despite there literally being classified red demons, blue demons, gray demons, all the stuff like that, they are still unique individuals. And thus, it wouldn't be shocking to me that a whole group of them would just keep attacking humans, because, like, this is what the Demon King would have wanted. It's low-key what I want. I'm not going to stop because the king said so. I just won't stay in the demon realm. And that may be the other case. Or maybe some other third option. I have no idea. But presumably, I think the most innocent situation for the demons would be that they were literally just chilling in the demon world or chilling in the human realm post-war. And then Arthur was like, hey, you filthy, disgusting creatures, you shall work under me. And then he immediately mind-controlled them all. Once again, doesn't explain why Eo isn't mind-controlled, but she could just... she literally could have just been gone to get milk. Like, legitimately, she could have just been at the store, getting milk, came back, and her whole squad was gone. So it could be that. So the only reason is, if the only reason I'm iffy on that is because it doesn't explain why Io didn't get mind controlled, because presumably they were all together, but she didn't. Though she somehow knows about Arthur and knows that she needs to do something about Arthur in the That's the thing. Io's really weird. Io's super duper weird character-wise, now that I really sit down and try to think about it and analyze it and talk about it. I don't know. Something's not lining up. I wonder if they're even really under the control of Arthur. Like, what if she's just making all this up? But then again, how would she know? That's the thing. I don't know how she would know about this. But why would Arthur give her free will? Maybe this is Arthur just directly puppeteering. I have no idea. Io's super duper weird. But we do end off this little interaction of the chapter with Tristan being like, please, tell me what you know. And of course, being Nakaba, he's not going to let us know what she knows. So we cut away to Isolde, Jade, and Anne. And we see that Isolde, who's been sat on the ground after the pigback ride after they escaped in Teniac, is currently not doing all too well. She's going, oh, sweet mother of mercy. Why did it have to be me? Why was that snake so durable? Why did it take a big old chomp out of my porterhouse thighs? Why? But, of course, for the fact that she's breathing heavy and sweating, for the fact that she did get injected by pake venom, snake poison, we do get to see that Anne is currently worried about the fact that this is just, like, awful. Like, this really is an awful situation. Walnock is built really, really well for invasions, because just like a certain... Which village? Is it Mykonos? I forget which village in Greece is built in a very particular way where, like, the roads are designed to be confusing. So invading forces, whenever they came by sea, would just get lost in the town and be easier to route because, like, they just would get confused with the streets. But Walnock is also seemingly built like that, to the point where if you were invading force, you would kind of just get lost for... just like how these people are getting lost because they're all an invading force technically and trying to get their way back. And we do get to see that Anne is like, okay, I'm sick and tired of this dumb bubblegum built like this stuff. We just got to go ask the festival goers. I'm sick and tired of this. We got to get out of here. We got to move. And I don't blame Anne for that. That is the most logical course of action, especially considering the whole reason they got in a situation where they were recorded in the first place was the fact that they were walking down these alleyways away from people. So it sounds bad, but using the natural festival goers as a meat shield and a way to blend into the crowd is actually a really smart move. However, we do see that Jade contests this for some reason. Like, dude, what the heck? Especially considering Isolde needs help in the first place. He says, are you stupid? Do you want them to get involved in the battle? Kind of. Or maybe you could just avoid the battle entirely because you aren't isolating yourself from the streets and you can just hide in there. Like, once again, especially with magic sensory abilities shut down, you could just blend in. Even if the knights or any of your adversaries know what you look like, considering the fact that they waited until you were out of the crowd in order to attack you, that very likely means that they will not be able to find you in any way, shape, or form as long as you just blend in with the crowds and hide. It seems legit to me. You don't know that they know you're at the inn. You don't know that. So why don't necessarily get Jade's objection here? It seems a little bit short-sighted on his end. And we see that Anne's like, okay, idiot, listen here. If we just keep sitting here in this alleyway and waiting for the other people that are currently hunting us down to come back, then Isolde's poison is just going to keep getting worse and worse, and we're going to be in even more trouble. So yes, I'm more than willing to put a couple civilians in a little bit of danger so we can help our friend. W. Anne. Like, once again, Anne, super flip-floppy character, I won't lie. Like, there's some times where I think Anne is amazing, love her introduction, but at the same time, there are times where I'm like, darn it, Anne. Why? But still, this is one of the W. Anne moments. Shout outs to her. However, we do get to see that Isolde's like, I'm alright. I can still fight. And smack her upside the head, or look at her, tell her that she's lying, because you can literally see that. Because obviously, no, you can't, Isolde. You are stuck on the ground. And we do get to see that Jade, like, I believe. Now you listen here. You listen close. I believe that you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. Don't get me wrong. I am a firm believer in that philosophy. Take every single shot. It doesn't matter if you miss 1,000 times. At least you have the knowledge that you did miss, which you'll never know because you could have scored if you didn't take the shot. So I believe in that phrase wholeheartedly. But Jade, do not do this. Do not be Jade. All right. In this scenario, you don't warn if you're going to do it to anybody, not even a person of the opposite ability of you. Like, not even that, just to anybody. If you are about to suck on somebody's thigh, even if they got bit by a snake, let them know first. Let them know. Because just out of context, in context, it's a little bit strange. Like, I get it. This is a remedy to snake poison, I do believe. Hold on, let me in fact Google it, because I was talking about it. Yeah, like I thought, you don't even do, but then again, once again, I can't necessarily knock Jade's hustle too much here, because this is like the medieval times. Obviously he wouldn't know, but yeah, don't do this. Don't if you are ever in a situation where you're like hiking with your friends, because I've had it happen before. Not luckily enough, I've never been bitten by a snake, but I've been out there with friends who were bitten by snakes. Do not suck out the venom. That does not do anything. It legitimately is ineffective. It does absolutely nothing, except it could add the poison to you, because now it's in your mouth. And shock horror, a lot of things that go into your mouth immediately go into your stomach and spread throughout your bloodstream. So do not suck out poison. Do not do it. No matter how juicy, thick, and bubblicious your homie's thigh is looking, do not suck on the poison, especially without asking first. Like, at least warn them. If you're going to suck on anybody's thigh for any reason at all, warn them, unless you've like discussed this previously, because I know a fair share of people who've been in relationships where they do not need to ask for certain things or ask for clarification. They've just kind of discussed it before, and bada bing, bada boom, they get to sucking one way or another, conscious or not. That happens. I understand. But particularly in this situation, don't be like Jade. No matter how juicy the porterhouse thigh is looking on your big boy who happens to be a 300-pound linebacker, do not lean down and get to sucking just because the opportunity presents itself. Do not do that. That is a shot you should not take. The 100% of shots that is a shot you should not take. And the thing is, like, Nakaba, in the same way that he was unbelievably down atrocious in the cover page of this chapter, yeah, he's definitely a bit atrocious here too, because like he emphasizes and worst thing is, like, Jade is not only a sucker, but he's a sucker and a spitter, dog. Like, he a quitter. Can I make that joke? I think he'll be fine. But yeah, he is spitter quitter, because we see that he sucks and and admittedly, of course, it's snake venom, obviously. And even then, don't drink other people's blood. That can definitely jack you up, especially like maybe unless y'all are vampires, I don't know. I do not know my demographic entirely. So if you happen to be vampires, go ahead, suck whatever you can suck. But if you do happen to be a regular human being, do not drink blood. I don't think I need to warn you of that. But if you do have a bad blood transfusion, which can happen very often, I do not know any of my homies' blood types, but I'm pretty sure they're all different from mine. And even if they aren't, I wouldn't want to drink their blood, but do not drink their blood and or their venom if they happen to have it, because that can definitely jack you up horribly. It is bad. Do not do it. However, we see that Jade is sucking and slopping and spitting everywhere. Okay, I need jail time too with Nakaba. Don't put me in the same cell as him, but like, at least have me next door so I can ask about the plot. But regardless, we do get to see that he is sucking and spitting. And as he's sucking and spitting, and he admits that this is the only first aid he can do, we do see a certain individual is posted up on the sky, posted up in the heavens looking down. He may have been tossed away from one group, but hey, this group ain't got a white mage, as he just overheard. But we do focus particularly on Jade. And we realize that Jade is extremely buff. Like, bro is well built. He's 16, but he built like that. Like, bro's kind of jacked and juicy. I won't even lie to you. He's kind of built. He is very built, in fact. Like, I can't even say kind of. He is just built. Though I will admit, I'm kind of sad they just sacrificed the fit. Like, I don't know. His fit was like the most fire out of all the redesigns, in my opinion. So I'm kind of sad that he has to sacrifice it. But, maybe he could rip off the other sleeve, get that barbarian look in him. If he doesn't disappear next chapter permanently. Maybe that's why Nakaba ruined his fit, because he knew it wouldn't be around for that long. However, with that being the case, we do get to see that Jade's like, I'm sorry, I can't do anything more for you. I really wish Tristan was here. He really would be able to heal you up all nice and good and proper, send them thunder thighs way back up in the skies. But it's interesting. I always forget that Tristan can hypothetically heal poisons, because we know he can't heal sicknesses and curses and stuff like that. But still, poisons is really, really good. It's like a hacks that it's always good to have a healer for. So I like it. However, we do get to see that Isolde's like, it's fine. You also helped me back then, Jade. When we were little, we became lost while exploring a forest. That's when we got attacked by monsters. It was so bad, And of course, like, the poison is probably making her delusional, but like, of all times to recall back to this. I mean, I guess it makes sense, because like, she is being helped by Jade, which is, a memory trigger thing, but still, It seems so like weirdly out of place. Like we got to call back to this. I don't know. Maybe it's a D flag or two, if you know what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying? However, we do get to see that with that being the case, and she could already tell that something was on and popping between these two, even if they don't know it. So she was like, "Oh, just you two? Oh, okay. I see what y'all were doing. Y'all were freaky even as kids. The way he leaped on that thigh. So this is something y'all discussed before. I see you. But we do get to see that Isolde clarifies that no, Chion was with us too. It was always the three of us. Very, very interesting. Once again, kind of makes me wonder about like the seeming lack of care for his friends outside of Tristan that we see earlier on in the chapter. I don't know why Brody is so like against helping his homies, I suppose. I guess that's the way I would put it. Like, I'm still shocked that he would just completely disregard them, considering how close they've been. And we see that Anne is like, really? Like this? That was your option of childhood friends? You could, like, she even just flat out says it, like, how could you be childhood friends with a crooked guy like that? It's just beyond me. And like, me too, to a degree. Like, now I think about it, yeah, I don't think I ever had like a snake as deep as, like, none of my friends would have ever committed treason. Like, if I really sit down and think about it, out of the numerous friend groups and the numerous people I've called my friend over the time, even people I've had as acquaintances, or even just associates, like, we're really going far down the line, confidants, if you will, I don't think there's a single one of them that would have flat out committed treason. And Chion did that. So I really can't even blame Anne for being like, wow, you really have that sneaky of a friend in your roster? That's kind of crazy. Could not be me, though. And thinking just like me. However, we do get to see that Jade's like, don't say that. Come on now. You went through some hard times back then. He used to be a gentle kid. What happened to Brody? Like, what actually happened to Brody that turned him into that? If he used to be a gentle kid and he turned into a straight treason doer, I want to know what he went through. Give me the Chion backstory right now. And the thing is, right, like, it has to be something extremely atrocious, because seemingly enough, Jade and Isolde went through the same thing. If it was just a Tristan saving event, while they're all admittedly Tristan beat munchers, they are not to the same degree as Chion. Something is up with Chion, at least if you ask me. However, we do get to see that Isolde's like, I still remember that day clearly. After I was hurt, Jade carried me on his back until he got home. He must have been a strong 6-year-old. Like, I'm not even saying that as like a dig on Isolde being big. Like, no, like, 6-year-old me backpack another human being. Like, I was strong. I was relatively strong for a kid. Like, I was always just a big, meaty, beefy kid. But I don't think I could, like, carry a whole nother person. If they were relative... power scaling terms sneak into me so often. But if they were, like, relative to me in size, too, I don't think I could carry them. Presumably, they were around the same size. However, it still is impressive that Jade went out of his way to carry her like that. However, seemingly enough, that may have not actually been the case, because we see that Jade goes quiet at that compliment, and we see Anne even flat out asks, oh, maybe this is Jade asking, but we see, oh, did that happen? And Anne's looking at Jade, and she sees the trademark sign from her magic that Jade is hiding something. There's a lie written in there, something about that. Anne notices it, but she doesn't comment on it. Very, very interesting. Maybe Jade's the traitor. I wouldn't be 100% shocked if he was. Like, Arthur promised him a world with Isolde where Isolde was him and him alone. Him and his alone. And thusly, he didn't have to worry about the Tristan competition, because Jade has even admitted to Chion and Donny that that's like just a losing battle. Even if he did like Isolde, he knows he would never be able to pull her, just because, like, let's see, commoner dude with the ability to wield light and darkness to only blind people and or cover their head in darkness, or royal family guy who can do the exact same thing but on an infinitely higher scale, because he's literally a hybrid between the original species of light and darkness. Like, me personally, put me in the same position Isolde's in, and I'm not even looking at Jade too. I don't even blame her. However, we do get to see that Isolde's like, I just kept thinking about thanking you the whole time. And Jade's like, oh, well, shoot, I already sucked on that juicy old thigh of yours. How about you go on a date with me and I'll really show you what I can suck on? Maybe jail just is something that is required. Like, I don't know. I gotta look in the mirror sometimes and wonder about what I am. However, with that being the case, we do get to see that he immediately shuts himself down. And, like, this is more... I'm leaning towards this. Like, I already gave you a whole diatribe on how you should not just randomly assault people and suck on their thighs. But in this case, I do believe not make 100% of the shots you take, because you won't. But try to attempt to take 100% of those shots. Like, at least throw it out there. If you have that one person that you've been thinking about talking to or like trying to get in a relationship with, just tell them. Like, unless you could tell it would ruin like a really, really, really good bond you have with them previously, and or you're afraid that like there could be actual repercussions for it. Like, personally, you would never ask me or catch me asking out like the boss's daughter. That's just not something I'm going to do out of fear for my own job and stuff like that. I know you can have like litigation cases over and stuff like that, but I don't got the money for a lawyer. So you wouldn't catch me doing that. But in a situation like this, where it's just like a friend or something like that you think you could do romantic stuff with or would be interested in, if you think you can do it, do it. Just shoot your shot. And don't immediately shut yourself down unless you think, like, if you need to mission abort it after they say no, then you can mission abort it, especially if it's someone you're close to. I've even done that twice in my life where I developed a really cool friendship with somebody. I was like, I think it'd be neat if we dated. And then they were like, no, I just see you as a brother. And I was like, I just see you as a sister, an ugly one too. So I was just messing with you. Crazy how you nearly fell for it. And we're still friends to this day. She does not know I even have a YouTube channel, which is perfect. Because I think she would get on me if she ever found out about that. But regardless of that, don't be like Jade. Don't just immediately like throw it out there and then immediately shut it down. Give it a little bit of time. Let it marinate. Take the shots, man. Take the shots. You never know. Life is short anyway. You got the one to live. You might as well live it to the best of your ability. However, we do get to see that Isolde's like, oh, wow, oh, you. The joke was terrible. As if you were interested in me. Jay's in so much pain. Like, once again, I don't know. I'm not necessarily the best at hiding my emotions. I'm very reactionary as an individual, especially facially. But even then, I remember the same pain that Jane was going through. Like, he literally grips his fist. It's like, yeah, it was a joke. It was a jokey joke. Ha 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 ha. Like, I understand that pain. I definitely understand that pain. I feel like no matter what you come from or where your background is, I feel like everyone's gone through that moment where they were rejected once by a person they were really into, and they were just like, oh yeah, I kind of just have to sit with this for the rest of my days now. Like, I understand the pain and the feeling behind that, so I can definitely respect the hustle of Jade feeling that agony behind it. However, with that being the case, Jade refuses to let this slide. He's like, okay, fine. I'm not going to hold back anymore. Isolde, huh? There's something I always wanted to say. But suddenly, as if the skies themselves had fallen, the sound disappears. Isolde looks up, confused at why Jade suddenly went quiet, and realizes that the crackling of the torch is no longer there. Jade quickly draws his blade as everyone readies themselves for battle, and they all look around, and they all notice the sound is gone. The sound has disappeared, and they're looking around, hunting for the thing that took the sound away. And Jade locks on to somebody who's fallen from the heavens to strike them down. And boom, bam, kapow. Jade is mollywopped with a foot. And I gotta say, yo, like, McDuff, despite being one of the beefiest, bulkiest characters that we've ever seen, only really being, like, overshadowed by Dornock and top-of-the-line Escanor and the Demon King in terms of just raw beef, yo, I won't lie to, and the Supreme Deity, she was very, very big, but, and the Giants, obviously, and Droll, but still, with that being the case, McDuff is, like, at least in terms of how Nakaba draws them. They're probably obviously better hand-to-hand fighters because they're going to be more experienced than McDuff. But, like, in terms of just sheer fighting style, McDuff is, like, the coolest, if not the best hand-to-hand fighter we've gotten in the entire series. Like, he straight up feels like a JJK character or a Sakamoto Days character got ripped from either of those manga and slapped together and thrown into Four Knights. Because the way he fights is so elegant and smooth. Like, he literally strikes the smoothest, the butteriest, the nicest of poses after he kicks Jade directly in the head and sends that boy ragamuffin flying. And we see that he wastes no time. Pure efficiency. As Jade is rolling, we see Anne goes to strike on him. Anne, who's proven herself to be a pretty competent fighter. She's not fought or anything like that. She's shown that when she gets down to it, she can definitely throw a hand or two. But no, immediately, another kick straight to the jaw sends her sprawling. Isolde swings. She actually manages to land a hit on McDuff, but McDuff blocks it. Casually holds the hit. And notably, this is a nerfed Anne. And, well, not necessarily a nerfed Anne, but a nerfed Isolde here. She's probably not swinging with Meligalanteers of force with a magic explosion of that level. He's not at that point, I don't think. the poison plus a mental nerf plus well, not even a mental nerf, just a lack of a mental amp and all the stuff like that. This definitely isn't like Fuse Commandment tier level of hits that McDuff is eating, but still very, very impressive that he's able to eat this mace with no damage at all. He casually just looks at her and just ignores it. And then once again, he's just been using his legs left and right. He casually kicks her away. And I love the kinetics of Nakaba's art and movement. He's so good. I think he's one of the best in terms of using cross-hatching and action lines really, really well. It really sells the scene. And notably, he's doing it in the silent scene very, very well too. I love how the action lines are only on extreme points of movement, like the mace being swung, like the movement of McDuff's leg, and there's absolutely no action lines, barely any cross-hatching on moments of stillness, like McDuff blocking the mace, the Morning Star. Really, really good stuff. Nakaba, he's not on the level of Suzuki Sensei, unfortunately. He is Nakaba Suzuki, but not Suzuki Sensei from Sakamoto days, and he's not on the same level of someone like Gege from JJK, but still, he's definitely up there in terms of pure kinetic action with characters that you wouldn't think be able to do it. And we see that kick does send Isolde right back into the wall, and she stumbles, and we see that McDuff notices that he has a lingering effect of magic on his arm. And realizing that this magic could actually do something to him if it were allowed to be set off, he prepares to spear Isolde right on through. Because, you know, for most reasons and circumstances, you take out the wielder of the magic and their magic will go with them. So he reels back with his right arm and goes in for the pierce. And we see that Jade, Sean Core, I was just talking about the Archangels the other day, is in fact the reincarnation of Ludishel, and he uses Flash. And this is very interesting. It's cool to see a human with the ability to use light and darkness. He does have both aspects of the spectrum. It's just seemingly enough that they're not physical. They aren't like to the same level or power or have the existence ratio parts of the demon and goddess clan, which is very, very neat. So he uses Flash, he blinds everybody, including Isolde, including Anne. He knocks off all their vision. He seemingly has to squint in his own light, which makes sense. And he says, while he's blinded, but seemingly enough, this reveals that either one of two things: either McDuff has trained himself in situations like this. Once again, the dude has probably had to fight or is prepared to fight goddesses here and there. So it's entirely possible that he just knows how to deal with like bright flashes of light because it's just within his job resume. He's a smooth, clean cut, life taker. So wouldn't be shocking to me if he had to box some goddesses and them using light tactics wouldn't surprise me. Or B, which would explain the sunglasses and his really cool eyes, he may just be blind. Like, legitimately, he may just be flat out blind, and he's not affected by the light because it doesn't even bother him. He doesn't even see anything. Notably, he doesn't even react to the light. Like, he doesn't even turn or notice where it's coming from or anything like that. He's just so focused on Isolde, and he reels back with his hand. So it appears that McDuff is a blind guy, which is really, really cool that he's still such a good fighter. It really is. There's another case. I forget where there's another show or series with a blind martial artist that's just top of the line with their craft. And I really, really like the archetype. You don't see it everywhere. Obviously, I can't remember that show that I'm thinking of. But still, whenever I see the archetype, I really, really like it. And we see that due to the bright light and Isolde still having the after effects of the poison, she's kind of tripping. She's kind of off the zot right now. And she says, "Oh, it's so radiant. I can't see anything. Oh, Sir Tristan, just as I thought. I wanted to be your bride." And, yeah, McDuff's hand goes through somebody. I don't think it's Isolde, mainly because, like, we see that she's up against the wall. And unless Nakaba just forgot to draw the wall here, her hand, or no, McDuff's hand would have clashed against the wall because she's up against it. There's no reason that we should be able to see the hand. So presumably this is Jade that gets run through for Isolde. And the next chapter is even called The Words I Couldn't Say. So it's likely going to be Jade. It's Jade. The only thing is, though, because this is the end of the chapter. The chapter is pretty short, only 13 pages. But, Nakaba's not feeling well, so I give him full pass on that. But with that being the case, I really wonder if Nakaba's going to take away one of our pseudo main cast members before the 100 chapter mark. Obviously, I've been a big advocate for the fact that I don't think the whole group is going to make it to the end. I have certain people locked off, like I think Anne and Isolde are just perfectly safe because of the love interest for two of the titular characters. You don't execute them. Like, Nakaba is a very unconventional mangaka, but he's not that unconventional. He's not going to do something like that. Not something that outlandish. So I could definitely see this leading to Jade being taken out, but I'm shocked he's being taken out so early, especially with the stuff like the secrets that seemingly implied with Anne. That's the only thing. I feel like maybe unless the secret gets revealed next chapter, I could definitely see Nakaba keeping him alive so we could like continue this plot line for a little bit longer. I obviously think this is going to lead to Demon Tristan or something like that. If he manages to find this out, something like that, I don't know. Overall, this is a very W chapter, I won't lie to you. It has a really solid opening. Sure, we don't follow up on the whole thing of the mini Percies being mad ominous, but even then, like I said, the mini Percies adding mystery to the series is always really, really nice, so I'm down with that. Seeing the interactions between Donny, Chion, and really the whole Percy platoon, minus Anne and Chion, is just really, really good. I love it. I love little stuff like that. Seeing Io hint at the fact and be really inconsistent, sure, I don't like it because I'm confused, but even with that intrigue, I really like the intrigue that Nakaba was building with Four Knights. It's one of the best things about the new sequel series. I top that off with the fact that Jade is a certified meat muncher. He is a definitive munch, a licensed munch, if you will. Really, really cool. It's nice to see stuff like that. Nice to see Jade suffer. Once again, I feel bad whenever I say I like seeing characters suffer, but that does make them more human. We as humans go through a lot of suffering as is, so I'm glad to see other characters go through it. It really makes me like Jade a whole lot more. A character who I was clowning on for the longest time is becoming one of my favorites in the entire series because of how human he is. I like stuff like that. I like the mystery and the intrigue that's sort of being set up with him. Obviously, I love McDuff. He may be my favorite, like, hand-to-hand combatant in all the series, and he's really, really effective as a life taker and as a villain. I like him so far. I'm excited to see him go up against more people if we do get to see that. And obviously, Jade getting run through is a pretty solid way to end off the chapter. So overall, I'm excited for chapter 99, especially excited for chapter 100, and this is a very W chapter. Seemingly enough, there will be no break next week, so Nakaba just seems to be on a cooking streak right now. I'm very, very excited. So now, thank you so much for watching. Please remember to like, share, comment, and subscribe. Make sure the notifications won't miss out on any videos that come to the channel. Also, I do have a page down below. Each of those as one, cut them one, download the exclusive videos, early content, and more. You also now become a member of the channel for as low as $3 a month to get the same perks and more. Some of those perks include the live reaction to this very chapter. And I thank you guys so much for watching once again, and I hope you guys have a wonderful day. This is Dagger the Pencil, writing off.